完璧などありえない。この世界は不完全だから美しい。
もうバカバカバカ。
何？
俺は海賊王になる。
なんて美味しさなの。
力を渡した時に言ったことを覚えているかい？食え。違う、そこじゃない。
変態遅い。
Hello and welcome to More Than Hentai, a podcast that is here to show that anime is just far more than tentacles and catgirls. There's also countless stories of love, loss, laughs, hope, horror, and happiness that are just dying to be found. And I, Brendan White, the Salt and Pepper Senpai, am here to help you find them. More Than Hentai is proudly powered by our friends over at Audio Technica and Dashwater. So go upgrade your audio and hydration games today, preferably after you listen to this fantastic episode we've got in store for you. And joining me in the Segoy studio is not only a parent and a teacher, but also a card-carrying member of Geek Freaks. He's also the godfather of fandoms and the cultivator of communities with a love for Lord of the Rings, D&D, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and the fantastic Heath Ledger classic, A Knight's Tale. He's fairly new to the world of anime, so I'm thankful for him to put his trust in me and helping him guide him through this big, crazy, beautiful world. You can find him on the socials and YouTube at Fandom Portals. Aaron Davies, you bloody legend. Welcome to the studio. How might you be doing?
Oh my gosh, Brendan, what an intro. I don't think I've been introduced like that ever in my life. Thank you so much. It's great to be here. Aaron Davies from Fandom Portals. Can't wait to talk some anime with you here.
Yeah, dude, I'm excited to talk anime. I'm excited to talk Fandom Portals, your life, everything else you got going on. But dude, that is the bar has been set for intros now. Like anytime you walk into a room, anytime you go to work, anytime, family or friends see you, I want them to give that type of hype and intro to you every time you walk through a door. Otherwise, I'm going to be pretty disappointed.
I would absolutely love that. I think I might just have this episode just airing and play it every time through the Bluetooth speaker when I go through, just hijack it, because that was sick.
That works for me. I think we need to get you then like a musical track to accompany it, like a wrestling intro. We need to sort of put a nice hype track behind it as well. And you roll in with your head held high and pump that chest up. But yeah, man, thank you so much for stopping on by. You're one of the new kids on the block when it comes to content creation. Like we were talking offline, you've got 10 episodes now in the can in Fandom Portals. But let's maybe start with that, and then we'll pivot into obviously the crux and the focus of this episode, which is anime. But let's talk about you, what you got going on over at Fandom Portals, because it is a bit of a new upstart in the Australian scene, and it seems like it's doing some damn good things.
Yeah, no, it's a great little passion project that I've started here, and it's basically focused on building community and getting those people that love to talk about their fandoms onto a place where they can share them and for people to hear them as well. So I knew that whenever I'd go to like a get together with friends or whatever, we'd automatically just slide into those, what have you watched lately? And what are you into right now? And just, it's kind of like I call it like campfires, I guess you could say. It's the stuff that people gather around and talk to, and it just helps build those relationships. And also I kind of wanted to cultivate a nice space online, because we all know that when you express love for a fandom and your opinion isn't in the majority, sometimes you can feel a bit bad about having that opinion, and you probably shouldn't. So yeah, I wanted to create Fandom Portals for those people that really, really just needed a space and an outlet to share what they love.
I think that's fantastic, dude, because I'm with you. Like, I've been on and around the internet long enough to know that yes, there is some fantastic places and spaces and people, but there's also some swamps out there with some trolls that just cause a lot of grief and unnecessary drama. And when people are trying to, raise up certain fandoms and things that they love and get behind, there's the people on the other side of that just want to tear it down and cause all kinds of grief. So yeah, hat tip to you, man, because we need more places and spaces like Fandom Portals, because it is a scary, scary world out there, especially for people trying to jump into some of these fandoms for the first time. They might not know where to go or not what to look at or listen or find and sort of look for as beacons and pillars in these communities. So yeah, the fact that you are sort of bringing such a positive and open and welcoming spin to it is testament to what you got going on there, because I think, it's only early in this piece. Like we were saying, you've got 10 episodes in the can, available both in podcast and video-based form on a whole host of platforms. But I think, the journey is just beginning. It's going to be good to watch the world of Fandom Portals grow.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And, I appreciate everyone that comes in and drops a a comment or even just chats to me or whatever, because it's I do this more about the connection than sort of like expressing an urge to grow, I guess you could say. So like if it's a natural product of that, then great. But also, it's more about just giving those people that space to talk about what they love and making sure that, if they're going to dip their toe into a fandom, then they don't miss out on the potential enjoyment that they might receive from just really going head first because of a poor experience that they've had based on sharing what they love. So that was the idea. So yeah.
I think it's a great idea, man. Like, there's far too many gatekeepers out there across all sort of pop culture subsets that just are mightier and higher than thou for some unnecessary reason. And the fact that you weren't there from day one means you're lesser than. And it's like, no, get out of here. We don't have time for those opinions. Like, you guys and girls all get in the bin. There's place for everybody, irrespective of how early or late you found something. It doesn't make you more or less of a fan. So, it's good to see more people cultivating a good, fun, welcoming space. So more of that, please and thank you.
Yeah, I've kind of found as well that the more you cultivate it, the more positive you kind of seem to get back. Because obviously the negative are the loudest and proudest of the lot. You get to hear them because they sort of push their voice or push their message out more so than others. But I don't know if it's the algorithm or what, but over the course of time, I've seemed to have gotten like more and more positive interactions across a few different social medias than what I did at the start, which is good. So maybe if you keep playing the game, then it pays off in the end. So
I hope so, because you see a lot of the algorithm is so geared towards clickbait rage culture, and I'm happy to see that there is just genuine, positive, uplifting content out there that is getting the right eyes and ears on said content as well, because that clickbaity stuff, I ain't got time for that. I'm too old and too tired to deal with that type of nonsense. I just want to have good conversations with good people about good content, and hopefully we'll have a good time doing so. So man, thank you so much for jumping on in here, and I'm excited to see where Fandom Portals goes over the following months and years, because Australia needs more good content creators like yourself with a positive outlook. But we're talking anime first and foremost. Obviously, that's the whole premise of this podcast, where we're going to do a deep dive on an anime that either one of us have yet to watch at time of recording. But I wanted to maybe get your backstory, because you're pretty new to this world. So have you dipped any toes? Have you watched anything? What's your origin story with anime? If you have one, if you don't, perfectly fine. Like, no judging here. But I want to know where your entry and exit points are in this fantastic world of anime.
All right, so it all started on a summer morning in Australia. That's how an origin story start, right?
Yeah.
So Cheese TV basically was my exposure to anime, which I think is the same for a lot of Australians. If you're foreign, Cheese TV is basically just a variety show where cartoons are on in the morning. And I got a lot of I think they're the popular ones through there, like Dragon Ball Z, and I watched a few One Piece on there as well. But I know that there's just a vast world of anime behind that. And I always knew it exists, and all of my friends were always into it and they'd talk about it all the time. But it just wasn't really something that kind of drew me into watch first of all. And I was very much in love with Western cartoons, like things like Scooby-Doo and all that kind of stuff. That was my jam when I was growing up. So that was what I loved. I guess I was just ignorant, I guess you could say, to the world of anime. And then, my brothers are very much into anime as well. So I always knew that there was this hype there, and it was just sort of something that I never really cracked. And I'm not sure if that was because the premise of different shows never really hit me, or whether it was because I was afraid that if I opened that shell, then it would be something that I would never pull myself out of again. So, but here at the age that I am now, I'm ready to start something new. And obviously through Fandom Portals, I've had lots of people talk to me about different animes, and I'm unable to really chat to them about it because I don't have much experience in that world. So in terms of what I've watched, it's really only just the sort of popular ones, and it's really only 10 or less episodes through those as well. So very, very new, very green, very fresh on the scene. So
I love that you're like an adult anime baby that we can see grow and develop and take on all these great anime based traits that you can get from a whole host of unique genres of anime out there. Yeah, it's a crazy world, and I'm not at all surprised that Cheese TV was the gateway because any Australian that was born in the last several decades knows what Cheese TV is, and certainly got a taste of things like Dragon Ball and Pokemon and Digimon and all sort of the mainline morning breakfast anime that was flooded across the TV. But yeah, there's so much out there now, and I love as well that it's become, I wouldn't say more accepted because I feel it's always been pretty famous. It is certainly more mainstream, but the fact that things like Netflix and Disney Plus and the mainstream streamers have so much back catalog worth of anime that you can jump into and consume. It really helps open up this world to a lot more people that, like yourself, are unsure or maybe uneasy of cracking that egg open and maybe getting stuck in that shell for eternity. But yeah, should you choose, there is an anime out there for everybody, that I'm sure.
Yeah, no, I've seen lots of different variations of genres, as you say, and then there's this whole sort of terminology, I guess you can say, that's fit with anime culture that I don't really understand as well. So from the outside, it can be a little bit kind of daunting. It almost feels similar to going to a country where you don't know the language or the customs, I guess, and you're kind of an outsider for a little bit. But then once you start to sort of live the life, it gets a little bit easier for you. So I was also a little bit intimidated because some of the long running animes they can be over like 1,000 episodes or something like that, and that's like a big investment to narrative story arcs. But I am a big fan of character growth, especially like if a character starts one way and then changes through the narrative and then ends up a completely different way, then that's a story that I can get behind. That's my bread and butter of stories. I absolutely love that, just pulling apart different characters. And then if it's got a good plot and narrative behind it, just driving it also, then that's all more power to it. So
yeah, there's so much of that. Like you said, sort of the official or unofficial big three, if you want to classify them as, your Bleach, your Naruto, and your One Piece, they are the big 4-figure episode count anime that have these long-winded stories or different offshoots of the main line that, just consume a lot of narrative, a lot of character development, but also a lot of time. But it's funny, like I'm not big really, like I think Bleach is my favorite out of those three. And even then, like Bleach isn't anywhere near my top 10 anime of all time because I feel there's better ways to tell a story. There's more clean, concise, emotional payoffs in, 12 episodes, 20 episodes, 50 episodes. Like there's so much bloat that comes with some of these long form storytellings when they are going for 1,000 episodes. Not every frame and every scene is going to be a winner. And I'm big on life and in my fandoms, like, don't waste time. Like time is precious, time is finite. We can tell a good cracking story. Like it doesn't need to be a 100-hour video game. Like you can have just a good of experience in a 10-hour video game. Same with an anime, or like, you don't need to make this a trilogy film. It could be done in 1 or 2. Like, don't just chase the almighty dollar. So yeah, I'm not a big flag bearer of the big Mount Rushmores of anime. I'm more so just sitting underneath enjoying everything else because I feel a lot of that tells stories so much better. But the anime purists often come at me with their pitchforks about that because I don't find One Piece and that all that good. But anyway,
no. I will say that I have watched the Netflix live action One Piece. So I do know a little bit about that kind of world, but yeah, the 1,000 episode count, very, very intimidating. And also I'm not sure if there's an opinion on whether you watch it in English or in Japanese as well. And I know that some of my friends that have watched a lot of anime kind of really, they're Japanese purists, I guess you could say. But yeah, that kind of confused me as well. I didn't know whether it was the appropriate thing to have to watch it in Japanese or wait for the English. I didn't know anything about that either. So yeah, that's another question mark I have over the anime world.
I think, man, like however you want to consume it is fine. Like I'm big on like, I'm not going to yuck anybody's yums. Like if you prefer to listen to it subbed or dubbed, you do you. Like as long as you're having a good time and consuming the content, it shouldn't be up to those gatekeepers where it's like, oh, that's not the pure experience because it's an English dub. But like, yeah, dubs of yesteryear, some were a lot weaker than others, and you do lose sometimes some context translating from the Japanese to the English. But overall, like the dub game has really stepped up, and it allows you to focus more on the art, more on the panels on the screen, because when you are hyper focused on that subtrack, sometimes you might miss those little details and little hints in the corners or just out of the periphery. So yeah, I don't think there's a right or a wrong. Like, consume it how you want, enjoy it how you want, and yeah, don't let anyone tell you otherwise.
Yeah, no, I like that because I'm definitely on board with diving into some of these stories, because just through some synopsis that I've read, I've just been like, because I've done a little bit of digging on my anime list just to have a little bit of a look, the website there, and yeah, there is so much. So yeah, knowing where to start is very, very tricky. But they do have good categorizations in there, like the things that you're looking for. If you enjoyed an anime, for example, the one that we watched, if you like that one, then you can go and look for more. So that's been really helpful for me too, the My Anime List website. So that's been awesome.
It's sort of my unofficial Bible that I work off as well, because yeah, it's great because yeah, if you like that, you'll love this. Little comparisons, the fact that you can track everything you're watching, everything you're reading with manga. But you can also see like the top anime based off actual fans. So you can sort of see what's charting, how it's rating, see if it's worth your time, because there is so much anime and there's so much just broader content out there. Like, you know, you're jumping into film and games and, you know, D&D and everything like this. We're just in like this like glory period of content creation, it feels like, because there is just so much new stuff to try and consume and perfect and appreciate. It's almost becoming too much. Like, I feel like I'm getting inundated at the moment. Like, I'm watching 26 different new anime this season alone, and it's a lot to juggle with everything else. But like, I'm thankful at the same time. Like, I'm never going to be like, woe is me, I've got all this stuff to do and see.
Yeah.
But like, there is so much on our plates.
It's a good way to be, and it's a good time to be in, because I know that in times past, some like my brothers, for example, when they were really into reading the manga, did I say that right? Manga.
You did indeed.
Manga. They were really into reading the manga, and then they would look for different kinds of anime or episodes online, but then they wouldn't be able to sort of find them. So I guess nowadays I know that Crunchyroll's a thing, and they've probably got more different anime streaming services. So the readiness of its availability has probably increased its popularity, and it's definitely put it in front of my sphere, because I don't think I would be going down this rabbit hole if it wasn't for a lot of the different things that I've seen on either social media or, you know, as I scroll through Netflix trying to find something else, and it's just been there, and you have a little bit of a look and it piques your curiosity. So that popularity of it, I think, is definitely on the rise.
Hell yeah. And Netflix has got a really good stable of anime for both new people to the genre or veterans or people that might have lapsed and want to jump back in. Like, there's so much anime on Netflix that is accessible and easy to consume and entertaining and funny and scary and horrific and whatever you're looking for. It is on there on Netflix. And then yeah, Crunchyroll is certainly the mecca, but then there's other means depending on where you are in the region around the world to get your hands on too, because yeah, licensing can be limited depending on location, obviously. But yeah, Netflix, the back catalog that it's got growing every other week is fantastic. I am chewing through so much stuff on there, and yeah, I hope this episode and this anime we're going to be talking about shortly is a good gateway drug to future anime consumption for you. I hope we didn't scare you away with this one.
No, this quite the opposite, actually. I don't know if you intentionally picked it for me or whether it was just the one that I got out of the lucky dip, but it was like right up my alley. It was really good because I love sci-fi. I actually love fantasy as well, but obviously this one leans more into sci-fi. And yeah, it was just that character-driven sort of drama that I liked, as I talked to you about before. It's based on an IP that I'm not 100% familiar with, but I've heard of. So this is a good gateway drug into the anime world. I thank you for it, Brendan. It was awesome.
That makes me very happy, very, very happy, because that's always the risk on this show. Like I get a bit of a feel, or like whether I know the person joining me really well, or it might be like our first time crossing paths on the microphone. But I do my best to, you know, scroll the socials, see what you're talking about, see what you're appreciating and liking, and try and find something that's going to hopefully check that box and leave you with a good time. So it makes me feel really positive knowing I didn't miss the mark on this one.
I'm glad. It felt really personalized, honestly, and it was good. I really, really enjoyed it, and I'm very, very happy that you picked this one. for
Hell
me to
yeah,
watch.
hell
So
yeah.
it was really good.
First or last question before we jump into the anime stuff. I know you've got a bit of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle fandom in you. Who is your go-to turtle? I want to know who's your
Oh,
boy.
look, this is a loaded question because when I was a kid, watching the shows, it was always Leonardo, flat Leonardo all the time. And then, always play in the playground with the two sticks because they're the two swords. He always had the best weapon. He was the leader of the pack. He told everybody what to do, and that was the one you wanted to be. But as I grew up and as I got older, and when I became a father, and like different sorts of things happen with you in your life, I kind of look at him and I'm just like, you know what? Raphael's actually a really complex kind of character, and he is that sort of damaged guy, but the fundamental aspect of him is that he does have the hothead moments. He's very emotional, but he also deeply loves his family and just loves his brothers. And that I don't think there's a turtle that has more passion than him for, protecting his family and just, I can definitely relate to him a little bit nowadays anyway. So I would say Leonardo, but I think I'm leaning more towards the Raph stage now. What about you? I want to know about you now, Brendan. Who's your turtle?
I have been a Michelangelo stan since I was a kid, and I just can't get off it. He's just a good time boy, loves pizza, party dude, all the tropes. Like,
Yep.
he's just chill, go with the flow. Yeah, he's not really a leader, but he'll fight for his bros. He'll stand up for the people that are getting downtrodden by the Foot Clan and Shredder and co. But yeah, Mikey's been my boy, and I'm loyal and stubborn to a T, or to a fault, maybe, with things like this. Like once they're my character or my team or my whatever universe it is, like I'm like riding or dying with them forever.
Yep.
So even though, like I'm completely in lockstep with you, like Raph is a very multi-dimensional character amongst these turtles, but I just can't let my boy Mikey go. Like, he's my ride or die. So I'm sticking with him until the end of days.
No, I like that too because Mikey is he's very much needed in that group. I don't know if you know much about like character compositions, but the heart of any story is just like the fundamental key aspect of anything, and Mikey's definitely the heart of that bunch of turtles for sure. I don't know if you're familiar with the Ronin storyline as well for the Ninja Turtles.
I am, and I'm excited because it's getting adapted to a video game at the moment, and I hold out hope it will get adapted to whether it be a multi-episode TV spin-off or a film. Like, I feel we've done so much of the more kiddie-centric oriented turtle stuff over the years that we're due to go back to the darkness, because that first live-action Turtles movie, that was heavy. Like, the film back in, what was it, 91? I think it came out way back when. But the Ronin story is so good. So I want to see that on the big or the small screen, as well as like the video game. I think is going to be sick, but I really want to watch it play out as well.
Yeah, no, I first encountered that through the comics, and all the way throughout, everybody was kind of trying to guess which turtle it was going to be at the end. And yeah, I just love. I won't spoil it for anybody, but I think from the conversation you can kind of guess. But yeah, it was just really impactful and just a really great sort of story, dark, gritty. And I reckon the guys that did the Arkham series would be good to produce that, because that combat style was just was awesome. And it would just fit a Turtles game, I think. But yeah, very excited too.
Yeah, hopefully it's good. And I love that some of these nostalgic franchises are in a bit of a renaissance. And I really enjoyed the most recent like animated film they did that like Seth Rogen and co had a thing to do with. It was such an awesome, fun throwback. So even if they do more of that, I won't be sad either.
Yeah, same as me. And I think the best thing that they did was that they actually cast teenagers as the turtles for one, and they actually got them around in the same room when they were recording their lines. So the ad lib and the brotherly sort of collegiality that they expressed in the film, I don't think that's been done better. Like since that 1990 live action one, in my opinion. Anyway, it was really, really well done. You could tell it's done by a fan.
Oh yeah. I'm with you. Like the first movie before that was peak, because the recent ones with Megan Fox and whatnot, not the best. The sequel, I love that we got to see some Vanilla Ice action in the sequel, but apart from that, it's very forgettable too.
Yep, 100%. And bulky turtles, they looked like the Incredible Hulk's babies. I don't know, but yeah, they definitely looked more human than turtle, and it was pretty off-putting. So yeah. I definitely agree.
Yeah. It was very disturbing. But listeners, what isn't disturbing, I guess it depends on what you're watching, is the fantastic genre of anime. And anyone that is stopping by for the very first time, first and foremost, thank you for doing so. But secondly, what took you so bloody long? Be sure to rate, review, subscribe this podcast, as well as all the other podcasts you are listening to or watching on the regular. Those ratings and reviews, they take no time. They cost no money. It's just good karma. So pay it forward where you can. But once you're done paying it forward, check out the rest of this episode, because the way this podcast works is it is a singular deep dive on the first episode of an anime in question. We're going to go front to back, full spoiler. Nothing is off limits. We aren't going to spoil major plot points, twists and turns, big reveals, things like that happen beyond the first episode. But this first episode is a nice gateway drug to make sure and give you a bit of clarity. Is this something that's going to be worth your time? It'll give you bit of an understanding of the world, the characters, the tropes, the good, the bad, the otherwise. So we're going to unpack everything that ran in the first episode, and then get an understanding if Aaron's going to continue on beyond episode 1, maybe watch the future 9 episodes of this anime, minus spoilers with the episode count there, see if you can work out what we're talking about. But the episode and the anime in question that we are going to be diving into today is none other than Cyberpunk Edgerunners, which is an original net animation miniseries based on the video game known as Cyberpunk 2077 by Polish studio CD Projekt Red. Set in the Cyberpunk universe created by Mike Pondsmith, the anime serves as a prequel to the game and takes place about a year before the events of Cyberpunk 2077. The 10-episode anime debuted on Netflix in September of 2022 and was created in part by Rafael Jaki, directed by Hiroyuki Imiyashi, with music duties handled by Akira Yamaoka. The series is produced by Trigger, who are one of my personal favorite studios and are known for such titles as Kill la Kill, Dungeon Meshi, Darling in the Franxx, Primare, Little Witch Academia, and Triple S Gridman, to name but a few. Cyberpunk Edgerunners can be found on Netflix and currently holds a score of 8.6 on my anime list, based off 542,000 unique user reviews, and is currently the 92nd most popular anime overall on the website, and a series that I personally scored a 10 out of 10 on my anime list. And the story of Cyberpunk Edgerunners is as follows. In Night City, dreams die fast. Teenager David Martinez from the city slums aims to honor his mother's wish by climbing to the top of the Arasaka Corporation. But when a street gang shatters his life, David installs Sandevistian cyberware for superhuman speed, using it to exact brutal revenge. Expelled from Arasaka Academy and devastated, David meets the enigmatic data thief Lucy, who offers him a shot at redemption in the dangerous world of Edgerunners. In this high-stakes game, David is ready to risk everything for survival and revenge. So, Aaron, episode 1 is titled Let You Down. Let's start with some overall general impressions, then we can sort of jump in beat by beat from there. So what was your overall takeaways, your overall vibe on Cyberpunk Edgerunners after checking out the first episode known as Let You Down?
Okay, so first of all, the word that you mentioned in that intro, brutal, was one that came to mind, basically because the opening scene was absolutely fully in your face, which is good. And it really captured the way that the city of Night City kind of worked as well. So it immerses you almost straight away. So I was pretty much in from the first 45 seconds of the anime. So when I watched that, my eyes just became slowly and slowly wider until eventually it looked like I was going, cyber psycho as well. No, it was really, really enjoyable. And I thought, you giving it a 10 out of 10 is definitely valid, because you're introduced to so much so quickly, but it doesn't feel like it's rushing you either, which is a unique sort of take. And then also coupled with the effects, like the sound effects and the backing track or the soundtrack, was really just perfect pairing for me as well, because it meshed the anxiety inducing action sequences that are really, really well choreographed with the sort of scene by scene shots that you get, which I think is a staple in anime sometimes as well, but you'll have to correct me on that one if I'm wrong. Coupled with that beautiful sort of slow, almost beat centric sort of soundtrack, is just really, really good pairing for me. So I also sort of see the setting of Night City as a character that you can analyze and look at too. And I was just, I was right in there from the very, very start of this one. So loved it.
Dude, that's a perfect summary. I've got some words, but they pale in comparison to that. I like that you referenced Night City as a character because, yeah, as this episode unfolds and future episodes do as well, you do see that Night City is living, breathing, full of flaws and imperfections and dirty areas and the downtrodden. And it is its own thing in its own essence as well, which I love. But my general impression, because I've watched this series through, I reckon maybe 5 or 6 times over the last couple of years because, yeah, it's a 10 episode run. It's really easy to consume. The way I consume content, I can easily chew through this in a night without even batting an eyelid. So it's a good just, what am I doing on Sunday? Not much. Let's chuck it on and just work it through in the background as I dabble around in other things. So it's been really nice jumping back in to this world. And my general impression, I just wrote like, yeah, it's crunchy, it's dirty, and it's balls to the wall. Like it's flawed, but it is also unforgiving in its flaws. And it also like acknowledges and knows exactly what it is. Like it doesn't pull any punches. It doesn't like shy away from the violence, the nudity, the sexism, the racism, the gore and the viscera. Like it is like Night City is a horrible place to be, and this is why. And they just go boom, 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 and load you up right from the get-go. And yeah, these opening scenes, it is a big tone setter for me. Like we're greeted right off the get-go, cold open. We're seeing sort of this rain-filled cold open, and we're getting really nice mixtures of color with the neon just scattered around everywhere, the lights and the sirens from the police cars, the reflection from the street lights, and the neon coloring from the various digital signage around, which is gorgeous. And then, like you said, it folds in over the top this really crunchy synthwave track. Like I am such a sucker for synthwave and vaporwave and all that kind of tune. So if you throw that at me with some neon, like usually I'm like, I'm in, let's go. So straight off the get-go again here, I'm like, that's right, this is how it starts. Like my toes tapping, my head's bopping, and I know what's to come, but it still didn't manage to like not shock me any less. And we get this intro and we're getting some sort of chatter over the police radio, hearing several members of the Night City Police Department talking about, I thought you weren't working, like just general nothing chit-chat, waiting almost like in a stakeout. They're all very bored with this discussion over the comms. But then that silence, I mean, the chatter is sort of silenced immediately as we see this big hulking individual make his presence known, and he sort of pulls up beside one of the police cars, taps on the window of the police car. The policeman didn't really know what's going on, and this guy doesn't say a word. He just gets out this big shotgun and blows this dude to pieces, painting the car, the streets, and himself with like viscera and blood and just chaos. And you're just like, whoa, what the hell? And I love that this moment sort of sits with us for a second because they pull that synth track out. The music is completely gone after that. The police sort of realize what's going on, and that nice crunchy like ba-da-ba-bow synth is gone, and it's replaced just by gunfire because this guy's just getting blasted by gunfire from a swarm of police officers trying to take him down. And we get that first reference that you mentioned earlier where they're like, oh my God, we got a cyber psycho. And you're like, what is this? What's happening? This guy means business. And all these cops are there just trying to blast him into oblivion. But this guy just effortlessly allows them to meet their maker just with like, he's got blade appendages coming out. He's got guns coming out everywhere. He's just blowing these guys to holy hell. And you're just like, whoa, this is a lot. And this is in the first 60 seconds.
Yeah, exactly right. And, that effortlessness that you mentioned is perfectly portrayed in his facial expression as he's sort of putting bullets into these officers, because there is no emotion there is no humanity, and you immediately look at that character and you can see he's obviously bulked up to the nth degree in various different adaptations and cybernetics and things like that. So that's an element of curiosity that hits your brain as well. And then you see like his eyes do that sort of 2D flicker. And then they mention, the cyber psycho, and it's just sort of putting all these lore feelers out there for you to be like, I want to find out more about this, and I want to find out more about this, and I want to find out more about that. And I think that's really kind of tricky to do, whilst also, introducing the setting as well as they did, and also like providing us with that awesome action sequence as well. As far as like an opening to a TV show goes, it's very hooking. It's very, very hooking, and it's just immersive as well. So it, as I've said, it had me 100%.
Yeah, it's hooking, and like it's, even though there is death and chaos raining down from everywhere, it is just so cool, which is kind of
Mhm.
weird to say, comparing it and referring to death and, you know, people's heads getting blown off and whatever else. But like the way it's animated, like Trigger are one of sort of the founding fathers of anime. Like originally, members of Trigger used to be part of a studio called Gainax that did things like Neon Genesis Evangelion and a
Oh,
couple of like the
wow.
big like IP out there, and they've spun off and done Trigger and done stuff like this. Like I mentioned, Killer Kill is also super stylistic. Gurren Lagann is some other stuff. So they've done some anime that are some of my personal favorites. You can sort of see that skill set and those nods to their sort of cool factor they add to anime. And yeah, this episode and this season just has it in spades. So yeah, we see this guy just blasting, and then you see he's like the almost the praying mantis blades popping out of his elbows, and he like slices a guy clean down the middle in half and stuff. Like they do not shy away from showing dismemberment and decapitations and death. It is everywhere. And then we see this cyber psycho proc an ultimate ability, I guess you could say, if we want to tie it into, you know, games and stuff, where we get this really cool animation. You see like the spinal modification he's got start to trigger, and like blue highlights on it, almost like he's powering up.
Yeah, yeah.
And it pops and it slows time. Like it is everything sort of stuck in freeze frame for that moment. But this guy's able to then like glide around the battlefield, and in this moment he's like and just mows down all these other coppers. And then the ability sort of shifts off again. It's back to real time. And so this guy, he's there going, who's going to stop this dude? He's just killed like 40 cops in the span of a minute. But then we see a group called MaxTac arrive via the sky. I'm not quite sure if it's like a helicopter or a plane. It's some type of flying
Device,
vehicle.
yeah.
Yeah. And they're up there. They look like some bad mothers as well. They've got like armor out the wazoo. They've got really cool headgear on, heavy hitting weapons. And we're not really sure what's going on, but they then have an exchange with this cyber psycho and manage to sort of get him down to his knees and sort of disarm and stun him. And you're like, whoa, is this the end for this guy? What's going to happen? But then it flashes forward, and this is where we're introduced to David Martinez, and we find out that he's been doing something that they call brain dancing, which for anyone playing along, it's like he's wearing like a virtual reality headset and he's playing out real scenarios or real memories or real situations that have happened, like in this instance, or, you know, things from history and whatnot. So it's just like next level immersion. And so he rips this headset off and he is just like tripping. He's like, what was this? This was the craziest stuff of my life. And he calls someone up called the Ripper Doc, who is sort of like a black market dealer for things like brain dancers, augmentation, drugs, weapons, anything that's not really legal. The Ripper Doc will be able to hook you up with, and we can understand pretty quickly here that even though David, yeah, he's a high school kid, got a cool look to him, but he's living in Night City, which is a bit of a shithole, rampant with crime. He likes to dabble and I guess get into the less legal activities as well. So you're like, whoa, okay, so that was just a video game, or that was just a memory. And then they say, no, this was hot off the press. This was from a few hours ago. So go, okay, all right, that actually did happen. That cool opening with all this death and chaos and synthwave hotness did happen, and it was like, this is hot off the press right now. Like they've managed to get this guy's memories, chuck it into one of these BDs, and they're already selling out into the market. Like, man, these buggers work fast.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And, you know, that selling that you mentioned there as well, it's rife through this whole episode, as like just to the point where even when he goes to use his washing machine, you know, it's all pay per wash. And that commercialization is rife through this first episode, which plays a part later on as well, because you know that the big corporations really sort of tie into the rest of the anime. But yeah, the Ripper Docs that you were talking about as well, it sort of paints that picture that there is that underbelly, even without explicitly saying, hey, there's an underbelly here in Night City and there's these guys that tamper with stuff. But no, it sort of introduces it in that sort of really subtle way. And it gives you that impression that, hey, these guys are like fully augmented. And you'd think that there'd be like a government sort of regulation that would stop or oversee this. But then obviously you hear about the Ripper Docs, so you know that that's something that happens like under the table, and these guys are obviously operating outside of the law. And this government in Night City are obviously prepared for it, because there's this unit of troops that are specially trained to come down and take over when somebody's cybernetics cause them to go into cyber psycho mode. So it really sort of sets the tone, sets that environment that even through these nuanced little introductions of various different elements of the environment and different sort of character names, it just really just puts together the place of Night City in. And I think this is only in the first like 3 to 4 minutes of the episode. So it feeds you a lot, but it gives you so many questions too.
Yeah, it's really well done. Like the storytelling and the pacing, like you said, like whether you've played the games, played the role playing variation as well, or you're entering this world for the first time, it gives you really good, clean, concise context to what's happening on the screen. Like you said, it's referencing the government or lack thereof. You're seeing everything that's this is a transactional world. Like everything in this universe has a price, like right down to the person. Like your value is your earning potential, and that's it really. And
yeah,
we're getting so much just easy, subtle exposition here where, okay, we know that now that, yeah, there's this criminal underbelly, there's ripper docs, people augment their bodies, and whether it be for speed or strength or crazy praying mantis like blade arms, whatever it might be, there is, if you've got the eddies, which is the slang term for what they refer to as currency in this world, if you've got the eddies, you can get it because someone has got it out there and will sell it to you probably at some crazy marked up price.
Yeah, that commercialization is rife throughout, and it kind of it highlighted the element of humanity to me, because if you're charging somebody to wash their clothes, what kind of social aspect are we looking at here when you're talking about letting people kind of live with the bare essentials? And then it goes into the juxtaposition or the combining of machine and person, and then that element of humanity is always questioned throughout this episode and the series as it goes on as well. And that's why I really like the character of David, because at the start he is that very human sort of presence in this very metallic, chromed up world. So it's really great to see, he as a character is going through the elements almost as that human sort of aspect in Night City, which isn't very common anymore.
I agree. Like, what is humanity is one of the biggest ongoing themes, whether it be referenced indirectly, directly, subtly, or sledgehammer to the face when you see some of these body mods and stuff taking place. Like, it's a crazy world to live in. Like, I certainly would not want to raise my kids in Night City. That's for sure. Like, if I had the choice, I am getting far, far away from this place. But sadly, David doesn't have that luxury, and neither does his gorgeous mother, Gloria, who we're introduced to here while we're back in the apartment complex. We see that she's passed out on the couch, and no, she's not passed out due to drugs or alcohol. She's passed out because she's been working a night shift. She's an EMT, so she's busting her butt, doing whatever she can to get enough money to help put David through school and live a good, wholesome life, or have the chance to live a good, wholesome life. And we find out in that moment too that, they're behind on the bills because before we introduce to Gloria, David's sitting just zoned out in front of the washing machine, still, I guess, coming down from the brain dance that he just did. The washing machine shuts down mid-cycle, like you said, Aaron, due to a lack of funds that they've paid. Like you've got to pay to use your own goddamn washing machine, which is despicable. But I'm not the mayor of Night City, so it's not my fault. But we see that everything is so transactional here. Yeah, we meet Gloria. She seems like a really sweet woman. She just cares about her son and giving him the best platform to hopefully lead to a good life. But then we get some nice context here where it throws back to those opening scenes when we've got the news on in the background, and we see some footage from the shootout that just occurred that we saw through David's eyes on the brain dance. And he's like, "Mom, there you are." And we find out she was on the scene working as an EMT, putting some of these dead police officers' bodies in the back of an ambulance to do God knows what with. But we also get some referencing here where it's like, you're witnessing the bloodbath of Lieutenant Colonel James Norris. A military-grade implant that he had that caused him to snap is also missing, ... And you're like, ooh,
yes.
Little breadcrumb there. Little breadcrumb there indeed. And before this sort of scene ends, we see David starting to get ready for school. He says goodbye to his mum. Can't wear his school uniform, obviously, because it's still wet in the washing machine they can't afford. But as he walks out the door, his mum, Gloria, gets a call from somebody called Maine. And you're like, what? I've got a lot of questions here, Aaron, but that opening, like this was all in the first 5 minutes.
Yep.
And it throws a lot at you, but like it hooked me and I was so immersed and so invested in this world right off the Ripper doc. And yeah, it did not hold back. I loved it.
No, I loved it as well. And all of those sort of introductions really just did wonders for me wanting to find out more, especially like with the mother's relationship to this mysterious character of Maine, the missing piece of cybernetic. You saw that cybernetic work, and obviously that was like a really powerful device. And can I just say as well, the effect that they used to animate that, absolutely beautiful. The combining neon spine and that sort of X-ray vision with the sliding across. And I've seen a lot of other cartoons sort of do the super speed teleporting in a really different kind of way. Like it's obviously just starting in one spot, appearing in another with a quick flash in between. So I think this really highlighted that neon aspect of Night City, which was great to see. And yeah, it just sort of laid those Easter eggs for you to want to keep watching. There's obviously this relationship between himself and his mother. They're struggling on hard times, and who doesn't like a character that's going through some struggle? And yeah, you just want to see how that pair is going, that human pair is going to survive in this merciless city of debauchery, basically.
I agree, man. And we don't have to wait too long to see the mercilessness and the debauchery of the city, because we're here straight after David says his goodbyes to his mum, and yeah, she receives that very suspicious call from Maine. We're then taken on a stroll through Night City, and we're seeing that it's rampant with poverty, death, crime, lewd sex acts, and just general chaos everywhere you go and everywhere you turn. Like it's a really cool little montage that's going on through here, and we're seeing people from all walks of life, all pretty much downtrodden or just up to no good. Like we don't really see anyone doing anything positive in these scenes. And you sit there and go, man, this is just a young kid trying to get an education and get through life.
Yeah.
And he's got to deal with that. Like right from when he steps out of his front door, he steps over like a homeless bum passed out in the hallway out the front of his place. Like it's just around him, and you can see he's so numb to all this. Like he's so desensitized to it. But I do like too, there's a track that's playing on over this, and a couple of lines. There's one in there, and it's like, I was a teenage outlaw with no worries on my mind. And I'm like, all right, that's David right there. Like he's a little badass. He's cool as a cucumber. He lives and breathes this world, and he's perfectly comfortable in doing so.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think that the way that he enters and exits that building is very telling as well. So obviously the scene where he sort of drops straight down into the pile of garbage, I thought that was like almost a metaphor, because, he's in his home and then he goes and drops into a literal pile of garbage and then walks through the streets, which are also absolute garbage, full of garbage people. And he's just like, as you said, he's so casual with it. He's got his hands in his pocket. That boppy sort of soundtrack is playing. And yeah, that song I've put on my Spotify list now, because yeah, it's a banger. I love it. And yeah, I just think that montage does so much in so little time as well, because you do see all the different walks of life. And it's also coming from like watching a few streamers play the game. It's also really awesome to see Night City during the daytime, and to know that it is also just as bad in the daytime, probably even worse, because you can see more than the nighttime as well, because things hide in the dark. But yeah, and you can also see the looming sort of skyscrapers in the background during these scenes as well. So that there's almost like a corporate aspect of this city and this town, but there's also like that slummy maze like area, because that he didn't just walk through a front door to get into his house or go up an elevator. He obviously had to walk through various different sort of alleyways to then jump down into the way that he's now known to go in and out of his house. So it's like that maze, and that sort of that setting of that again is just coming alive.
It really is. And I've played the video game front to back. I love it. I think it's one of the, like, now in its first iteration, it copped a lot of flack for being a little broken, a little underdone. But what they've done now, and then the subsequent DLC that they brought in that also introduced Idris Elba, who's just one of the GOATs as well, is so good. And it just really combines well with this animated world. And the great thing is, the last couple of weeks, actually, people from CD Projekt Red have said, no, we want to do more in the animated space with this universe. So hopefully we get some more Cyberpunk-esque anime content, because it's so good and so fun. Even though, everything that David walked past in this montage is not good. Yes, some of it looks kind of fun, but it is a messy, nasty place. But we also do in this episode, and it doesn't really give us any context. This is probably the biggest piece of mystery that we get in this first episode. We get this like almost like dream state ethereal introduction of Lucy, where we just sort of see her very unique sort of bob cut float its way in almost like a little spirit on a black background. And she's got like this silvery blue hair with some pink streaks. Like, you know, she's a gorgeous character, but we don't get really introduced to her in this episode. He sees her on this sort of catwalk having a smoke. And for some reason, David had the urge to like run up to her. So we're like, does he know this girl? Are they friends? What's happening? But maybe it's just she's just a smoking hot mama with a vibe that you're going to go say hello to. So young, horny David attempts to go up and meet her, but she's already disappeared. So you're like, oh, who is this? Like, is she a real person? Did anyone else see her but David? Like, is she sort of a figment of his imagination from brain dance excess use or what? So I'm like, there is some mystery going on here, Aaron.
Yeah, no, I love the character of Lucy as well, and obviously we do not get to see her in this episode, but it plants that seed as well that this is someone that Dave desires. This is like obviously an intriguing moment that's going to make him want to interact with her even more. And yeah, her allure is definitely present in that scene. You know, also because I think in that scene as well, everything else was blackened. Am I correct in that?
Yeah,
and then all you saw was that bob. So it's just like, for David, it was just like nothing else exists at this moment. All I see is her. And I love that that's how it started. And watching their relationship progress as the series goes on is, yeah, I really love the way that those two connect throughout the series. So that first little interaction there was awesome. I loved it.
She's such a great character. Like, won't go into the specifics, but like the ensemble cast for this series overall are just phenomenal. Like, I love that they all get their moment in the spotlight, whether it be fleeting or otherwise. But like, Lucy's great. Rebecca, who's just this pint-sized little war machine with a shotgun. Like, you do not mess with her. I love her to death. And some of the other characters, but like David, Lucy, and Rebecca are probably my main three in this series that I just rooted for the second I saw them. Because like, yeah, you just got a vibe. You just got this sort of presence on screen, and I'll go to war with you in Night City.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. And, you know, as the series went on, and we'll probably talk about it later, but obviously David goes through what he goes through, and then he goes and has a found family, and that sort of unit and cohesive group is just, it's awesome to get behind those characters too. The supporting cast is just as intriguing as David and Lucy themselves. So, and they're also different too. I know that in a lot of shows, if you have like a big group of characters, a lot of them can seem very similar, but in this one, like, they looked different, their personalities were different, and they also introduced a different aspect of Night City or cybernetic augmentation, or they all played a role in introducing us to a different aspect of the cyberpunk world.
Yeah, I agree, man. It's just the cast is so well put together, and like you said, their differences make them stand apart, but also brings them together and unifies them a little bit more, I think, in a way as well, because they need one another for various aspects, whether it be their criminal profession orientations or just relationship and emotional sort of support requirements. But we see then David, he arrives at Arasaka Academy, and you can see straight off the get-go, he is an outcast amongst this. Like, this is high society, snooty, brown nose, cream of the crop, private college. Like, the best of the best go here. And you see David, who's just this street rat that's not in his uniform because it's dirty in the washing machine, and everyone is really looking down on him straight away. He's copying really repulsive, dirty looks from everybody, and even verbal hate and discourse from his classmates. We don't
even
really
from
hear
the
much.
teacher as well.
Yeah,
like the teacher calls him out straight up and is just like, "Where do you have a uniform pass for today?" Like, just straight up calling him out as being poor in front of everybody else. It's just like, wow, come on, man, give him a break.
Yeah, and then it's like, nah, it's in the wash. And he's like, what about your second uniform? He's like, it's also in the wash. And it's like, all right, well, go get an approval slip because, you're a bum compared to the rest of them.
Yeah. Oh, mate.
Yeah, so it's tough sledding, and we're introduced, I guess, to the main antagonist here in the Arasaka Academy. We're introduced to Katsuo, and he's very vocal towards David, talking about how he doesn't belong, and also talking about his cheap Wraith. Like, he's like their little VR headsets. They're called a Wraith, and he's got this modded one that's cheap and previous gen where all these other snooty Arasaka kids have got the latest and greatest, iPhone 75 or whatever it might be by now. So, and he's still rocking the old Nokia 3310 variation there for any phone historians. So yeah, he's already on the outer because his uniform scuffed up. He doesn't look prim and proper. His tools and his equipment that he uses for school is old and busted and hacked and whatever else. And we see that old busted hacked Wraith cause some trouble here because class commences. He chucks his on, powers it up, and we get a little context earlier where Gloria, his mum's like, I've got enough money now to pay for the upgrade to your headset so you can do school. And he's like, don't worry, the doc took care of it. It's all good, mum. It's all good.
Yeah.
And we find out that it's not all good because that mod actually cooks the entire classroom's tech, short circuits the servers, and that immediately puts him in the crosshairs of the principal. We sort of jump forward. He's in the principal's office. His mum's been called in, and she's stressed. She's panicking. She's very apologetic. She feels horrible about what's going on. But in this moment, we get this first reference where the principal's like, maybe David, this school's probably not best for your son. Like, maybe we should look at transferring him. We'll get him out of here. And he's like, man, you son of a bitch.
Yeah, after she's worked so hard, and obviously she's doing everything she can. She's working a really tough job, literally handling dead bodies. And, that's the last thing you kind of want to go in and see. But yeah, that bootleg, it also gives the impression that David's kind of resourceful as well. So, which comes into play a little bit later. Like, he has contacts in the underground that he uses to try and get by. And it also tells us that he's kind of trying to help pull some of the load off of his mum, because I found David to also be a character, and it's said through the series that he's not really a character with his own dream. He likes to help people follow theirs, I guess you can say. And his mum's dream for him is to obviously see him rise to the top of Arasaka Tower. So, he's fulfilling this sort of thing for her. But I really liked during the school scene the combination of the preppy kids in their black sort of uniforms and him obviously in his yellow sort of jacket that his mum has for him too. Like, I really love that, showing that he's different in that way as well, just visually and also obviously through the dialogue. But yeah, just showing that he doesn't belong in that place through the literal verbiage of the principal saying, let's find him somewhere new. It's kind of like, it tells you that it's kind of been going on for a while too. Like, this is the straw. You don't fit in, buddy.
Exactly. But he's got such a cool look. Like, the character model and the aesthetic, like, if I was living in Night City, that's how I'd want to look. Like, he's just a cool looking kid. Like, at 16, I couldn't hold a candle to that coolness. But yeah, David's just rolling around in this fancy yellow jacket, and he's got the shaved sides and the big hair
Rift hair.
Yeah, like, he's just a dude. And we're seeing now after this exchange, they're driving home. And like you just mentioned, where David is just so focused on doing what he can for others, he's sort of saying, Mum, like, why don't I just drop out of school, get a job, I can earn some money, make our lives a lot better, allow you to work less, to have to do these overnight, double shifts and stuff. Like, I'll earn some eddies and we can sort of take a step back and maybe live a better life together. She gets really upset about this, and that's where you get more of the context. She's like, I'm doing all this for you, mijo. Like, you're my son. Yeah. I love you. I want you to have the best in life. And I want you to end up at the top of Arasaka Tower, because, that's, I guess, what all our parents aspire to see their children do in Night City. So, yeah, she's busting her butt day in and day out to make sure everything is covered and everything is taken care of, so David can hopefully live his best life. But sadly, during this heated discussion, they're cruising along the freeway, and then we get two rival cars sort of pull up beside, and David's and Gloria's car, which is a little old and beaten. You can see, like, they are stretching every eddy they can to get through the day to day, but they're in the middle lane, and these two rival gangs sort of pull up beside Gloria and David in their car. And at first you're like, what's Gloria up to? Like, does this tie into Maine? Is this what's happening? Yeah. Like, are they arranging a hit here? And we find out it's just wrong place, wrong time. These gangs, it's, some Arasaka higher ups in their fancy bulletproof car getting attacked by a group called the Animals. And they just start whipping out giant ass guns. Yep. Don't care who's in the way. Like, they shoot the hell through Gloria and David's car.
Raining bullets, just pepper.
Yeah. I don't know how they don't get shot in this moment, because this one guy's
Mm.
got like almost like a minigun. He's bullets going through, and this big chaotic exchange on the freeway leads to some big time explosions and a car crash, and it leaves Gloria and David severely injured on the freeway. Their car's flipped over. Gloria's been thrown from their car. David's sort of still upside down in the car with the seatbelt on. We see a medical team arrive on site, and we're like, oh, thank God.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
so good, so good. But straight away, we pivot right back to the start, where it's transactional based living, and they scan Gloria, they scan David, and they're like, oh, neither of these two guys, like this woman or this man, doesn't have any insurance. To hell with them. Just leaves them to die on the freeway and just pisses off as the screen fades to black. And you're like, man, this world sucks.
Yeah. And then obviously after that, they're sort of taken to that that room where you go when you don't have too much insurance. And then, the doctor's there telling David that, we've done everything we can. She's stable at the moment. But yeah, that whole transactional thing when it comes to people's lives just really goes to show that humanity again is just absolutely gone from this world, because obviously people get into the profession of providing care in emergency situations because they want to help people. But once it becomes financial and transactional, like it seems to be in Night City, it's just literally like you're a number. And it sort of plays into the fact that there are so many of these cybernetic people here, and there's so much cybernetics involved in all the different kinds of worlds that you're a part of, that it just really sort of, that was gut wrenching for me. I literally sat there with an open mouth and I was like, really? And again, it was one of the elements that just drew you into the world, because you're like, how are they what's gonna happen? How that what like, it's so hard.
Yeah, it's really gut wrenching and heartbreaking, because you go, man, is this the end of Gloria already, who's been breaking her back? And so, yeah, you see this, but like you mentioned, they sort of flash forward. David is now bandaged up in some local back alley, dodgy dealing medical facility, where the doctor is wearing like a doctor's like apron, but no shirt underneath, just completely shirtless, just a large out of shape dude that's some kind of, in parentheses, medical professional.
Yep.
And he updates David. He's like, it's all right. Your mum's in stable condition. The surgery went fine. And he's like, oh, cool. Can I go in and see? And he's like, no, you're not allowed to. You don't, like, your medical plan that you've got, your insurance is like the low end bargain basement, dodgy, cheap Charlie version. So you can't go in and see your mother, because you don't have enough eddies to pay to see your mother that is on potentially her deathbed. And you're like, man, this is tough. This is just some kid. And now his mum is out of frame, fighting for her life, and the doctor, just completely emotionless, gives him like a black garbage bag, and he's like, here's your mum's possessions, on your way. So he's walking home with no money, no certainty about his mum, and her entire life in a black garbage bag. You're like, man, it goes full circle, like you mentioned, to when he's on his way to school and he jumps into the trash. Now he is living with the trash that is his mum's life in this bag. Yeah. Like it's heartbreaking stuff.
Oh, it 100% is. And that is what storytellers call a catalyzing moment for a character. That's just that point in time where something traumatic happens, and before that moment you were this person, and after that moment you become somebody else. So I guess he'd faced that sort of downtrodden lifestyle this whole entire time, but then that was just an event that obviously pushed him over the edge. He'd been doing everything that he needed to do to fulfill his mum's dream, and then he's got that black trash bag. Range of emotions would have been going through him as well, but then he gets to the door of his home, and even after having the day that he had, having the most traumatic thing happen to him that it could possibly happen to a young person, he goes to open the door, and then transactional again. The signs there, he can't get in, and it just adds to that whole hopelessness really of the place that is Night City. And because you like David the character, and Night City is such a shitty place, you just want to see him get through it. So it carries you through all the rest of the episode as well, knowing that this character that you like already is having such a hard time.
And like in this moment, I'm like, surely it can't get any worse for this kid. Like,
Mm.
and you worry like what's to come. And yeah, he gets to the front door of his house. He just wants to go inside and maybe switch off for a second. And yeah, the door's locked up due to unpaid rent. So like, oh, what's going to happen? Are we going to see him now sleeping on the street, cuddling his mum's trash bag of possessions? But no, we then see David's resourcefulness again. He sneaks in through a ventilation shaft, sort of pops in through the pseudo kitchen, I guess, of the apartment through this vent. Ends up back in the home, and he sort of gets his wits about him here, and he starts sort of doing some research on the computer. Finds out that his mum had a second account. She's been saving every cent or every eddy she could. And he's like, all right, this is cool. This money's going to cover the medical expenses. That's good. That's sorted out, but it's not going to cover the rent. What am I going to do here? So he starts rifling through the garbage bag, only to discover that missing military piece of cyberware that was referenced at the start of the episode. He's like, whoa, okay.
Mum's a hustler.
Yeah, mum's doing whatever she can to make sure David lives his best life. And so he calls the Ripper Doc. He's like, yo, I got this piece of tech. What would it hypothetically be worth if I was to sell it? And we find out the old Ripper Doc lowballs him hard. So he's like, stick it up your bum. It's not happening. And that's where this sort of scene ends. Jumps forward to the next day. David is on his way to see his mum. You can see he's very out of it. He's just very alone in his thoughts, very numb to what's playing out. And as he's on his way there, he runs into Katsuo from Arasaka Academy and his, nameless crony yes men who are there saying, leave school, man. You're done. You're nothing but trash. You don't deserve to be here. And then it gets a little personal. And Katsuo's like, I wonder how your mum's been paying this tuition all these years, man. Like implying that she's been doing certain things to make sure David maintains his status in the school. And you can see that's a real sore point for David, as it would be for anybody. David attempts to fight Katsuo, but we find out that Katsuo is augmented and modded out the wazoo, courtesy of something that he calls Strong Arms 400. And Katsuo then lays some Bruce Lee smackdown on David's ass. And he's just like, this scene is so coolly animated where he's just like punching and attacking David at the speed of light, like his, and David can't do a thing about it. And I really like how just before this fight breaks down, there's a couple of frames in this scene, the way it was animated and colored, where we're under this bridge. It's really dimly lit. We don't see much of the characters, but we get these splashes and dances of like warm reds and oranges and yellows, sort of half framing David's face and Katsuo's face. And it's so gorgeous. Like it's just a couple of nothing frames, but it's really stunning. And then, we get this crazy fight and like, man, Katsuo is a little badass.
Yeah. No, with that scene, what I took from that was that even like the preppy rich kids are still augmenting their bodies in the way that all of the junkies are. So it was kind of the equivalent of seeing like, the rich college kids in high Ivy League schools, like they're still going and doing drugs because it's a fun time kind of thing. So when you kind of saw this character of Katsuo just also augmented, obviously not to the extent of the first character that absolutely annihilated the police, but you're like, wow, this is actually going on in the youth of Night City as well. Like nobody seems to be escaping this culture of cybernetically augmenting yourself because it's presented to you as this environment that you cannot beat, and it seems that everybody's just trying to better themselves, and sometimes the easy way to do that is just to get that cybernetic implant that's going to help you along the way. So even someone as well off as Katsuo is just like, and also what a prick.
Oh yeah, he's a son of a bitch.
Yeah,
but dude, I love that, and I think it's perfect representation of this world where and like unless you're the high end of town from a rich family, you're never going to get ahead because even if they've just got the status, if they need more, they'll just augment themselves. If they need to be faster, smarter, stronger, whatever it is, like they can just pay their way to the top of Arasaka Tower, where David and the rest are just stuck down there in the trash forever. So. Yeah, it's a little upsetting seeing David so downtrodden and so literally beaten in these scenes because this sort of flurry that Katsuo lands on him, it ends with this one big hit. David goes flying into the wall of this into this tunnel, and he's just sort of hunched over, semi-conscious, bleeding everywhere, really in a haze. And then Katsuo has since left, and David's still just there, out of it, semi-unconscious. But he receives a call from the doctor. and he rushes to the medical facility where he left his mother, and he finds out that she passed away, and just like,
Yeah.
What happened? And then the doctor's
In
like,
episode 1.
yeah, the beloved Gloria gone, killed off very swiftly. And then the doctor, who just no emotion, no care towards David, he's like, sorry, bro, there's only so much we can do on the discount package. And you're like, you fuckers.
Yeah, and then after that, he gets that generic sort of, he hands it the tablet, and it's just like that generic, so your mother has died, or something along those lines.
Yeah.
And it's just, again, that inhumanity, that sort of transactional, even the conversations between people seems transactional. It's just like, this is what I need to do because this has happened, no emotion involved. And then, yeah, David's just gone through this traumatic event after getting the shit beaten out of him. And yeah, his mother's just died, and it's just a horrible place. And this whole episode seemed to me like it was just a downward spiral, or a trip down a downward escalator into a more debaucherous place than when we started. And it was just getting worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. And, you know, watching it to the point you're just like, is there any hope for this kid? Like, is there anything that he can do? Is he like, where is the glimmer here? And that's kind of where I was at that point of the episode. I was kind of sitting here thinking something's got to happen now, or something's got to surface itself to give David this sort of glimmer to be able to survive in this place, because he's got it. He's the character, you know?
Yeah, like in these moments, like you sit there and go, I just want to give you a hug, David. Like, you have been through the ringer the last 24 hours. And yeah, this moment where the doctor, hands the tablet. What are we going to do with your mum's body? Like, deal with it now, because otherwise she'll probably end up just in the trash like everything else. And so he presses like the basic discount package. And we see in this moment as well, his mum gets cremated, and her ashes are spat out like a can of soda in a vending machine.
Yeah.
It just sort of spits out, like drops out, and he reaches in and grabs his mum's ashes out of a giant cremating vending machine. You're like, God damn, that transactional way of living of Night City, like, it's embodied in this scene
Even
1
when you
million
die.
times over. Yeah.
Even when you die. And it's like that, she was in like the shape of the urn was even completely generic. It was like a protein container of protein powder. And he was just, you see him later on just sort of carrying that thing through the city. And yeah, just that vending machine style of funeral, you might say. There was really just no moment to process. So you can just tell that there was just a well of emotions inside of him, and he's just got nowhere to put them. And yeah, he's literally carrying the only person that was backing him up in the whole entire world in his arms as he walks through this shitty place around all these shitty things. So, and he doesn't even have a home to go through to and do that in private right now. So yeah, he's just a character that's downtrodden in a really bad place.
It's gut-wrenching, because you remember again that this is just a kid. Like, this is just like a 16-year-old boy still trying to understand what the future holds for him. And he's carrying his mum home like a giant protein powder with her name just etched in the side of it.
Yeah, in Times New Roman, not even a fancy font.
That's a blood boiler for me. Anyone that uses Times New Roman in life is an immediate like X beside their name, because it should not exist.
It's got to be Comic Sans or nothing.
That's a second place. It's not quite an X beside the name, but it's certainly strong consideration. But we see David just lost in his thoughts, lost in what the hell is next as he carries his mum's ashes home. He listens to several voicemails that were left on his mum's, I guess, internal phone. I don't know what you'd call it. Their internal comms device they've got. And all the voicemails are just related to outstanding debts. It's like, you've got to pay this. You're behind on this. We get the principal again saying, we've managed to crunch all the numbers, and we've sent you through the bill for the damage that David did the other way. And also, have you given any thought about transferring him? And you're like, fuck you, principal. Fuck you, you son of a bitch. And so we're back at the apartment. David again breaks in through the ventilation shaft. He calls the Ripper Doc because he's like, man, I need money. Like, I need eddies as fast as I can here. Calls him up to sell off that piece of military cyberware. But the Ripper Doc, being the dodgy underground black market businessman that he is, gives him a price that's reduced by 40% in the span of 24 hours. David snaps, throws a heap of cuss words at him, kicking the air, kicking things around the apartment, hangs up on him. He then gets a voicemail message from Katsuo that further adds to the snappage, where he's there laying the boot into David about his mum's passing, and again implying, what did your mum have to do to get you into the school in the first place? and this causes David to get right on that breaking point. And we can sort of see this poor kid's about to just snap and do God knows what. We flash forward. David rocks up to the Ripper Doc, who is midway through a BD having an orgy with some girls, as you would on a Friday night or whatever it is. And David charges in, and he's like, I told you, man, I can't buy this. Like, it's got no price, it's got no value. It's very bespoke tech. Like, it's not going to run." And David's like, "No, I'm not here to sell it, dude." He's like, "It's about high time I get chromed the fuck up." And you're like,
"Yeah,
all right, let's go, let's get it."
Here we go.
Here comes the hero moment, and then it cuts to credits. After this, we get This Fire by Franz Ferdinand, which is the ending track, which is also a toe tapper. I think Franz Ferdinand are a little overrated, but this is a little banger of a track. I kind of like it better than Take Me Out, if I'm being honest, which is their main song.
Yeah.
But this whole scene, again, gorgeously animated, showing that emotion, and they do a really tight shot on David's face when he's like, "It's high time I get chromed the fuck up." Like, really tight shot. We're seeing that sort of neon palette sort of covering his face again. We've got some synthwave looping in the background. We've got the Ripper Doc, who's got like a bit of a Jamaican accent going on too. It's just like a cool vibe in this dodgy underground black market area. And you're like, all right, let's go. What's going to happen next? David is on the warpath.
Yeah, no, and the Ripper Doc as well is just surrounded by all different kinds of cybernetics. He's lying on that bed. He's got a debaucherous sexual device attached to him, and you're thinking to yourself, like, how professional is this dude? So again, it sort of plays to that. It plays to that, just like everything's done for a price in this city. But I think that on top of the fact that at the end of this, David has that sort of snapping moment, and he goes and he gets himself chromed up, but it also highlights in this moment as well, and through the progression of that episode, the importance of the character of Lucy as well, because through that entire episode, really the only sort of glimmer of like I'll say not hope, but like pleasure, I guess you could say, for him was just seeing her for that brief moment, and then she was gone. So when this episode ends and you're looking at like where he's going to go from here, you know that, like, and as it plays out as well, Lucy, the character, really just sort of cements into David's reality as just sort of that antithesis of the place that he's in. So that's why their bond kind of grows so strongly. And I just love the way that they placed her subtly in this episode, but then at the end as well, when he's getting chromed up, and you know it's from the Sandevistan device, that military grade tech. You're just like, okay, this guy's not really teched up at all, and now he's going to install this. Like, how is this going to go?
As a kid, like he's like 1/3 of the size of the lieutenant colonel that was rocking this piece of military tech, and this young 16-year-old boy is going to strap it to his back. Like, yeah, it's not going to end well for this kid, you feel? Yeah,
at least at the very end of that episode, I think my closing thought was, Katsura is going to get absolutely fucked up right now at the very least. So, yeah, I think that the way that this ended really spurred you on to the next. The credits sort of played on the punch, like the credit music played on the punch that was left by David's closing statement. And it was just, it was a solid first episode all around. I just think it was great.
I really agree. Like, there was some down moments, a couple of like lull, quiet, reflective moments, but when it did dial it up, it really went to 11. Like, strong opening, strong ending. Like the bookends of this episode set the tone early, set the anticipation and excitement late, and really kept that momentum going. And the fact, it's only a 10 episode run. Like, it is a perfectly told, perfectly paced story, really easy to watch, unless you're like not a fan of hyperviolence and maybe animated nudity. That might be something that could be something you'd need to look away from here and there, because there is plenty of that. But overall, it's just a fun time. Do you have a favorite scene, favorite moment from this first episode that you wanted to mention?
I think that I love metaphors, so I think him dropping down into the trash was a really good one for me, coupled with that soundtrack. But probably my favorite scene was the one where he first sees Lucy, that sort of fluoro glow surrounding her hair, that isolation fading to black. I thought that was really well done. But one sort of technique that was through the whole series, but in this episode that I really enjoyed as well, was the scene transitions. So when the scenes transition, they sort of static or move across, and implementing that sort of cyberpunk vibe of the whole place as well. And then the different kind of overlays that happened as well, which kind of brought you into the situation. like when the phones go off and things like that, the overlays go on the screen. So it's like immersing you into the fact that this is what they're seeing through their heads-up display. But yeah, that's probably my favorite sort of aspect of the episode, coupled with the fact that, you know, we've got that element of Lucy that's just sort of hanging in the background, ready for us to go in the next episode as well.
Yeah,
So, yeah,
it leaves with a couple of good teasers, and yeah, I just love like this anime, this world, these characters. Like it's just cool. Like it is just, it oozes coolness, and yeah, it oozes a lot of bad criminal activities and endeavors as well. Don't get me wrong, but like you almost want to be part of this gang. Like if you were in this world, it's like, yeah, that's who I want to sort of shack up with and potentially live or die with, because yeah, they're just a good band of misfits that genuinely care about one another. And yeah, everything about this world, like the soundtrack for this anime is an absolute humper. The animation from Trigger is fantastic. The characters are great. The pacing's great. And just the world, like I'm such a Cyberpunk fan. Like I mentioned at the start, like I love just whether it be this world or just any other universe that has that sort of cyberpunk note to it, combined with that synthwave, vaporwave type of music. Like if you've got one of those or both of those in your universe, there's a fair chance I'm going to consume whatever it is from front to back, because I wouldn't say obsessed, but like it's a bit of kryptonite for me. Like it gets me on my knees and I'm fully invested right from the get-go. And that's how this first episode starts, where you've got that rainy, neon, dreary sort of scene. The synth wave kicks in, and then the violence kicks in straight after. I'm like, all right, let's go. I am riding this roller coaster till the end.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. And you know, you were saying as well about the band of misfits. I think that's really poignant for the whole series, because when a place is so debaucherous and harsh, and the world around you is so artificial, those really sort of genuine moments of friendship are stronger than what I think they usually would be in any kind of environment, because you know you can't really rely on anything. Everything costs you eddies or money, and you really need to work together as a unit to try and get through things. So that found family that David sort of adopts through that, and that friendship really becomes his most valuable possession, and it really sort of sets them, I feel, apart from other sort of gangs or cybernetically enhanced people that you meet throughout the world, because they do have that element of humanity that sort of lingers surrounding them. And that was just a really big draw card for me as well. So I think that, yeah, that again, as I said, character growth, character units, different compositions of various different characters just really draw me into a show. And this had a lot of things I could sink my teeth into in terms of the main characters, curiosity for what's to come with relationships with other characters, and just the immersive world, which, as we said at the start, really does feel like a character on its own as well.
Ooh,
yeah, solid.
Yeah, the characters are flowing, and I like that there's no perfection in this world. Even like you see the Arasaka kids, like you think they're prim proper, they're clean, cool, calm, collected, but yet they're flawed and violent and assholes. Like no one is without a smudge in this world, and I like that there is flaws and strengths and weaknesses that you see throughout the characters right from the get-go. But yeah, you do see a lot of character development and evolution with a lot of the main core group over this 10 episode run as well.
Yep. Yeah. And I like the episodes are only 25 minutes as well. It didn't feel like a 25-minute episode. Like it felt like you got heaps for that 25 minutes, which is really hard to do, I think, because I know a lot of shows that go for 25 minutes, they do feel like quick running, and you don't get any sort of, or not even half as much as we got through this episode of Cyberpunk. So I don't know if you have noticed, but I watched the whole thing. Like I watched it from front to back.
I picked up on that.
Yeah. So I was hooked to the point where I completed it to the very end. So I'm glad to hear that that they're potentially going to dive into the world again. Like CD Projekt Red is happy to let their IP sort of move in this direction, because as we mentioned as well, it really does add to the game environment. I think it's a really good, not piece of DLC, but just like a little addition, you know, it's like a little side quest that you can go in and view and be in the same world to consume something you liked. Cyberpunk 2077, here's something else for you. And, you know, and I think more access to things that people love and the fandoms that they enjoy, it'll help you sort of develop in that fandom, but also find people that love it too. So yeah, I thanks for picking this one for me, Brent. It's a fucking good one. Yeah.
That makes me very happy. And I love that you've completed it. Like it is a good, easy viewing, like 10 episodes. It's 1% of a One Piece, you could say, but you still get a full, complete whole story that leaves you well fed and satisfied. And like you said too, I love that when the anime did release, CD Projekt Red actually patched in some stuff into the game where you can go and find Rebecca's shotgun, and it references certain characters and situations that played out in the anime as well. So we're connecting these worlds together through a whole host of different mediums, which I'm so happy to see. And I'd love to see more of that in the future, where we're seeing games and film and TV and whatever else all come together to tell one holistic story across a whole heap of mediums. It's awesome.
Yeah, I haven't played a lot of the game. Do we know if any of the characters sort of cross over, or like Adam Smasher, for example, does he?
Adam Smasher, like, minor spoilers, but he's one of the main antagonists of Cyberpunk 2077. We deal with Adam Smasher a bit in the game itself, but outside of that, we get a lot of references to Rebecca, David, and such like that, but we don't have much to do with them in the game.
Yep. No, that's all good. I just love that it's validated the the series as part of that canon world, you might say. So yeah, this series has actually made me want to go and dive into the Cyberpunk game more, because I know that it did receive heaps and heaps of backlash when it came out.
It's so good now, man. It's so good. And you can also rock around in David's jacket in the game too. So
yeah, I'd do that.
Yeah, but listeners, viewers, if you're still on the fence about Cyberpunk Edgerunners, but you're a fan of Akudama Drive, Akame ga Kill, Devilman Crybaby, Cowboy Bebop, or Psycho Pass, you are going to love this, because they are the most highly recommended and commonly recommended 5 other anime that if you're going to like that, you're going to love this. So yeah, if you picked any of those 5 and went, I love that world, I think you're going to love Cyberpunk Edgerunners. And it's 10 episodes. Like, you can choose through this in an evening, in an afternoon. You could do it, a couple episodes a night for a week, like however you want to consume your content. It is really easy, really digestible. Yes, it's violent. Yes, there's some nudity. Like, yes, I probably wouldn't watch it with your kiddos. Like, if you do, that's up to you, but it's certainly more
you'll have to have some
leaning towards the adults. Yeah. A lot of conversations.
Mm-hmm. Yep, definitely.
All right, well, let's jump into the last word presented by our friends over at Japan Crate. Experience Japan through snacks and knickknacks via monthly package drops courtesy of japancrate.com. And while you're there, be sure to use code 8bit15 at checkout to save yourself 15% off and get free shipping to anywhere on planet Earth, even potentially Night City. Aaron, what is your last word, your last words, your last thoughts on Cyberpunk Edgerunners?
I think that it's just a really sort of brutal introduction to anime, but a really, really good one that's like peppered with really amazing character-centric arcs. It's a great what's the word for your first sort of go, like it was a good one to take my virginity, let's say that.
Yeah, it's memorable, and you always remember your first, and Cyberpunk is certainly memorable in a whole host of ways.
I'm just worried that I'll compare everything to it now, so hopefully that I can broaden my horizons and see some more stuff.
That's okay. As I learn, as I learn more of your viewing habits, I reckon I can certainly guide you down some good paths. Like I mentioned, like just knowing, like I didn't want to assume you've got Crunchyroll right now, but like off that list I just mentioned, Cowboy Bebop was on Netflix. It's a 26 episode science fiction noir soap opera, which is fantastic. It's one of the GOATs. Psycho Pass is really great on there. Devilman Crybaby, but we'll talk more because I've watched many an anime, so I've got many a thought that I can share. So you just go, Brendan, I've got a bit of a inkling to watch something with these sort of subsets or something that's going to make me happy or sad or shocked, and I'll be like, all right, here's a short list. Go enjoy.
Oh yeah, good. I think I've found a good master in chief, you might say, for my anime journey. What do they call that in the anime space? Is there a word for that?
I'm your senpai.
Senpai, there it is. Yeah, I've heard that one being thrown around. I didn't want to say it without knowing fully if that was what it was. So yeah, you can be my senpai.
I live to serve, my friend. But yeah, listeners, viewers, otakus, head on over to morethanhentai.life to check out all the great things that's happening on this podcast, as well as our weekly news podcast, More Than Headlines. You can get yourself on some of the tastiest merchandise in the land over there. And you can join the Segoy Squad from the low, low price of $1 per month to get exclusive access to content, perks, and giveaways you'll not find anywhere else on planet Earth. Just wanted to also send a big thank you and virtual hug to our producers, Aaron L., Dan G., Duffo, Fruge, Skreemus, Smashfxn, and Voidmayonnaise. Y'all are the best, and we'd be lost without you. But listeners, viewers, otakus, whether your anime be subbed, dubbed, or still yet to come, enjoy yourself, stay hungry, and much love to all the gorgeous waifus out there. Aaron, thank you so much for stopping on by. Listeners, check out all his content via the social links attached to this episode. But until next time, goodbye.
See you later, everybody. Thanks for having me, Brendan.
Anytime, my dude.